Hey, good evening, everybody. Tony Rush here with Business Labs Pro, and we are top of the hour. Time to get started. Glad you guys are here. We've got a lot planned, so we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on the getting ready. If you've attended any webinars in the past, I know you're probably a little bit familiar with the whole, bulk it up, fluff it up. Let's drag this out. We actually have a lot of content for you. We have slides. Dang it. We've got content. So I really do not want to spend a whole lot of time on preamble, but I do want to introduce you to our host who's going to be carrying the load tonight. You already see him at the bottom of the screen. Let me get him on screen. Let him activate his microphone there. John Lavenia, how are you today, brother?
I am doing good. Tony Rush.
Man, I'm excited. I've been excited about this all week. I think I have promoted this webinar more than anything else that we have done lately, just because this is... It's just an amazing story. Let me set it up for you guys this way. I'm going to turn it over to John. John began a bit of an experiment late last year where we were in a situation where there was a company had basically said, hey, look, we've got this product, this service, and it was an opportunity for John to step in and to kind of craft a presentation around what they were doing to see if they could increase sales. And what John brought to the table was something that this company had not been doing at all. And I don't know that anybody actually knew what to expect when he started it, but John started putting together a series of webinars that adhered to a very particular blueprint and a really clear, preconceived, thought out strategy. And the next thing we knew, John had sold a little over $10 million worth of product in less than 6 months. I think that figure is almost close to 10.5 million now. And that's what we're talking about tonight. So let me set it up this way. Webinars, they're the bee's knees right now. Everybody's doing webinars. You may have hosted some webinars yourself. I guarantee you this is not the first time you've ever been to a webinar. At the same time, anything that you do in the world of marketing can be done well and it can be done poorly. And there's a handful of things that I see John doing uniquely in this space that I don't really see anybody else talking about. And that's the focus of our conversation tonight. Because if you do this handful of things well, it's almost like you can ignore just about everything else and you can really drive some amazingly consistent and stable profits in your business, whatever you're selling, whether it's a product, a service, or an opportunity. So for the balance of our time tonight, we're going to dig into this and we're going to let John kind of peel back the lid of the box and show you the inner workings of a webinar blueprint that has done at this point approaching multiple 8 figures. We're on our way to a multiple 8 figures now, not just an 8-figure strategy. So I've known John Lavenia for, I guess now over 10 years, published author, public speaker. He was the first guy that I ever met that was making over $100,000 a month personally. So he's been a great mentor of mine as well. And if this is your first time getting to know John, you're going to enjoy the next 30 or 45 minutes. By the way, we got a bonus for you just for sticking around and attending tonight's webinar. So if you, I won't say more about that. I'll just say, hang around. You want to make sure that you're here at the very end. John Lavenia, I am eager to hear I've never heard you actually talk about this publicly in this kind of detail, so I'm pretty jazzed about tonight's conversation.
Oh, thank you. You know what? I'm feeling like I got to have something really cool to say now. That whole introduction. Usually it's we're just gonna have a conversation, and right there, I guess there's training tip number 1 is just have a conversation, with your viewer. But I do want to acknowledge you, Tony. Like Tony mentioned, he and I have worked together in various businesses. We've owned companies together. We currently own a few companies together for over a decade now. We've made millions and millions of dollars together. He's like a brother to me from the South. Okay, I live in the West. He lives in the South. But the point is, and this is one, I think, pretty instructive thing, is that everything we're going to go through here tonight is for use, and it's not necessarily just for use by you. So keep that in mind as we go through this, because I'll just tell you, because I like to sort of minimize, I'm not looking to be anybody's guru or anything. Yes, thank you, Tony, for the accolades, but hey, man, I didn't do any of this myself, right? We got a team effort. Right there, consider that everything that we're gonna go through tonight, that you could take and implement in your business. Even if you're a sole proprietor, even if you're like a lone ranger out there are ways to leverage this with other people, okay, using the talents of other people and essentially managing your weaknesses, because all of us, we can't all be good at everything. I can't be all things to all people all the time. So that's where I want to acknowledge Tony right now. I couldn't do the things that I do if we didn't have people like Tony and our other co-founders here with Business Labs Pro that do the things they do. So Tony, right back at you. Thank you for all you do. That being said, this whole thing that we're doing here tonight is hosted by Business Labs Pro, and we could tell you more about that later. It's a tremendous resource, and it's taken years to develop, and it is now something that you can use, and we'll show you what that means here in a minute. But webinars, I'd like to, I know there's a chat below. I think it's actually a Facebook comments chat or something, but put in there in that chat if you've ever hosted or attempted to host a webinar for the purpose of selling a product, a service, an opportunity with your primary business. I'd like to see how many people have at least engaged this form of online sales. Okay, so if you could do that, this way we can get a bit of a gauge. I'd like to know that y'all can relate to what I'm saying. And when we talk about a webinar, we're talking about a live video broadcast, like we're doing right now, right? So we could actually say, hey, this is a demo, right? We're doing a webinar. That's cool. There's a lot of different forms of webinars in the form of different technologies. And the ones that we like, we're going to sort of demonstrate to you here. But I want you to think about the results that you've gotten from those webinars. If you've attempted to do a webinar and you've gotten a pleasing result, it doesn't have to be $10 million in 6 months. I mean, that's a pretty outrageous thing. And by the way, that wasn't like I just showed up on planet Earth and said, hey, I'm going to do webinars, and all of a sudden here's $10 million. That wasn't the case. There's years that lead up to this, okay? But if you've gotten a pleasing result, let's say you're making at least a 6-figure income using webinars currently, go ahead and put that in there and let us know that you've got some chops, okay? You've got some ability to get a message and get it received and get people to take action, okay? That's a good thing. Now, if you haven't had that, and I would venture that more people, if we were raising our hands, more people would put up their hands now and saying, well, I haven't had that sort of a tremendous result. I mean, my goodness, John, that's why I'm here. Please show me how to do that. That would be the more common result. And that's a lot of times what we see in the world of live video broadcasting, AKA webinars. That's quite often what we see is people sort of shooting in the dark, hoping that something sticks, right? Or hoping that they without really having an outline, hoping that they just get it right, maybe based on luck. Okay, now I know here in the internet marketing world, there's a lot of people that talk about sort of an easy button, right? Where a magical system does everything for you. This method is not an easy button, okay? But it is so worth it. And personally, I have not seen anything that's more fun, more easy to do, okay? So right now we're gonna have fun, and it's actually gonna be easy if you know what you're doing, right? It's kind of like the difference between, like if I go on a golf course, it's not fun and it's not easy. Other people, they go on a golf course, they have fun and it's easy. Okay, so it depends on the individual. Okay, but it's fun in my assessment. It's easy to do, and I've not seen anything beat it as far as stats. So if you're looking to raise your stats, you're in the right place. When I say stats, I mean conversions. I mean converting leads, contacts, prospects, subscribers into sales, buyers, exchange of money for product, service, opportunity, benefit, whatever that happens to be. Okay, that's what we're looking for. That's what this method is about, while simultaneously increasing your influence in the online marketplace, which is an enormous thing, enormous. Never forget this. People buy from people, okay? Even if, like in the case of my books, right? You can go on Amazon, you can buy a book, okay? Amazon sold you the book, but someone had to originate the words on the paper. That was the author, right? So again, people buy from people. There's always got to be someone at the helm of that ship steering it to port, okay? So yes, we're going to talk about automation, but yes, there has to be a captain of the ship, and that captain is you, okay? And we're going to get into some tips here. But I want to show you, just for fun's sake, I'm going to show you a couple of reactions that we've had from these webinars that have produced so much revenue for myself, my partners, my affiliates, clients and students and people I work with all over the world who participate in these efforts, these live video broadcasting efforts. I'm going to show you just a couple of things that I just pulled up out of my archive really quick, just to show you the kind of reactions that we get. Hopefully you can see this. And the Aussies are always funny. I don't know how many Aussies we've got online right now. I know we've got hundreds, maybe over 1,000 people here already. More people are tuning in, but here's a couple of guys that I've had the pleasure of working with who got hooked up and started participating in this webinar series that Tony mentioned that I originated and I put together. And here's one guy, Scott, says he's had his biggest month ever. And he's been online for 4 years. And if he wasn't severely jet lagged at the moment, he'd be running down the hall in his undies. Andrew, my goodness. Okay, the biggest bonus he's ever had. And of course, comparing it to some of the results that he's seen other people have, you feel like, hey, maybe my result is small, but still the best for him. He would be screaming like a teenage girl right now, but he didn't want to wake his daughter. I always love the Aussies because they're so much fun. Here's another, just a list. This is during a chat that was happening during one of our webinars that we're speaking of here tonight. This is the kind of reaction that we get from people when this is done right. Okay, so there's a way to do it right. There really is. Okay, and you don't have to guess around it. I personally, I hate guesswork. I like to know what we're doing, and I like to know, because I've got a bit of a mechanical background. I like to know, why does the engine work? Why did it break? How do you fix it? Right? So I don't really like gray areas so much. I like to know that we're going to get the result. And that's what I want you to leave here with tonight, is some knowingness, some confidence that you can do this too. Because believe me, my friends, there's a lot harder ways to make money online than doing webinars. So we're going to get into our training tonight. Now, I have endeavored to cram as much content into a half hour. That's what I'm expecting, the time I'm expecting to talk here, about a half hour, as much content as possible so you can go ahead and execute, okay? This is all for action, okay? There's a lot more entertaining things that you could be doing than watching this webinar right now. You could be watching, I guess, Gilligan's Island reruns. I think there's some new music videos from your favorite pop stars. Okay, I'm not one of them, but I want to help you make money. So this is about action. So I'm going to cram some stuff in, and these are excerpts from one of our Business Labs Pro courses where I actually lay out the entire blueprint. It takes a few hours, but I'm going to give you some of the most poignant and potent tips that I can right now. And we're going to start with this. 3 questions you must ask before even thinking about doing a live webinar. If you're going to take any notes tonight at all, take this down. And the person you're asking is you. Question number 1, who is your ideal viewer / customer? Now, this is a very heavily loaded question. Sometimes I talk to people, in my consulting, and I say, well, who's your product for? Who's your buyer? Oh, well, my product appeals to everyone. Can anybody relate to that? Oh, my product works for everybody. And you want to get the biggest net in the water that you possibly can to catch the most fish. Okay, mistake, my friends, mistake. Here's what you want to do. You want to first consider whose language can you speak the best. In other words, let's say you were a realtor. Maybe you have a product that works for everyone, but you've got a strong background in real estate. Okay, can you speak the language of the realtor or the struggling realtor who would benefit from the product or service, the whatever opportunity you're offering to that client, that potential client? Can you speak their language? Now, there's 3 points to consider when you're considering who your ideal viewer customer is. Obviously, who your current customers, right? Take a little bit of a demographic study of that, and possibly a psychographic study. And the difference there is a demographic would be male, female, age, race, creed, location, income, household income, et cetera, et cetera. Those are demographics, okay? Psychographics are the psychological traits of your customers, your existing customers. Oh, they all happen to read that kind of book, or they all happen, or most of them happen to like that kind of author. Or they're interested in this product, but guess what? They're also interested in those kinds of products over there. They tend to subscribe to those magazines. You see, that's psychographics. Okay, so we've got the demographic and psychological aspects of the customer. So that's one thing to consider. Another thing to consider is that there's an ample supply of them. Okay, if you're selling a product, a service, an offer that's so vague, nebulous, and esoteric that it's only for like 0.0003% of the population, that may not be the best route to go if you want big results with webinars, okay? Because what do we know about the public? That there's lots of things that they could put their attention on, like the Miley Cyrus video or whatever, or your webinar, but they're going to have to choose, right? So we want people who, there's lots of them so that we can actually sort, if you will, and find the people that are more interested than those who are less interested. So we need lots of potential customers, okay? The next thing that you want to consider when identifying your ideal customer is that they're easy to reach. They don't live in a cave. They have communication lines set up, whether that's through, they all happen to subscribe to this sort of magazine, right? They're all dog lovers, and they all get the dog, was it Dog Fancy or Cat Fancy? I don't know. I've got a dog, but I don't subscribe to the magazines. But if I did, right, then I would be seeing the ads in those magazines. Or they all like that Facebook page, or they're easy to get in touch with. In other words, there's plenty of them, and they're easy to get in touch with. You can find them. They're findable on planet Earth. You can get in communication with them via some sort of media or advertising. Okay, and we're going to talk a little bit more about how to do that here later in the webinar. And the final thing that I'll say as far as identifying your ideal viewer or customer is that they are passionate about your subject, your topic, your offer, the kind of things that you offer, your industry. They're passionate about that beyond mere consideration or mere logic. In other words, they tend to spend more money on that kind of stuff than the average person would. Does that make sense? In other words, they're a little bit irrational about how much they like that kind of stuff. Okay, so consider those things when considering your ideal customer. Next, what is an obvious problem or pain you can solve for them in your broadcast? Okay, now, right now, here we're doing a broadcast, and people on the broadcast, you're here because you want to learn more about how to make a lot of money with webinars. So that is something I would say the problem or pain could be, in your case, you're looking to increase conversions. You've got leads coming in. You've got a list, perhaps. You've got some advertising. You've maybe got a website, maybe a brick and mortar storefront, maybe a home business opportunity, whatever. Okay, and you're looking for increased conversions, and you feel like it is worth exchanging a little bit of your time to learn from this guy who knows how to sell lots of stuff online, to learn how to ease that pain or solve that problem. So, what is an obvious problem or pain you can solve for your ideal customer? And this is something you can do during your broadcast to give people ideas, information, some sort of a benefit that they're going to leave the webinar with that causes them to be more able or more successful or more happy or more something after having attended the webinar. So that is something you must identify in advance. The third question is, what specific offer are you going to make to your attendees? Specific. We're going to talk about this more later. I think a lot of people sort of fall on their face after doing perhaps a very informative and problem-solving webinar for people, but then they're kind of vague about what the viewer can or should do next if they want to go further down this path, because after all, they're very interested in this sort of thing, so much so that they just spent an hour with you. Now what? Well, you need to know what before you even press the go button on that webinar. Those are the three questions you must ask before even thinking about doing a live webinar. So hopefully you've got those written down. Next thing, it's your business, it's your offer. I'm going to go through this really quick. So what product, service, or opportunity could you position as a compelling solution to your ideal buyer, and notice it's a big and, make the most profit from? Now here's the thing, and I don't want to come off as some sort of a mercenary, right? It's all about the money, the bottom line, dollars and cents. No, not the case, okay? It's about the spirit of service, and it's about creating benefit and repeat customers and referrals and all that. But I will tell you that another pitfall that a lot of people make is they almost are a little bit apologetic about making money. Like everything is based on price or something. And I'll tell you, my friends, for me, for an example, if I was your customer, I would want the best of whatever you've got. Sell me the most expensive, best one possible, because I want to buy it once and buy it right. Okay, and if you're truly an expert in your field, if you're someone who can offer this benefit, this thing that we just talked about in the last slide, well, my goodness, your servant's worth is higher, right? You got to make some money. This is capitalism, right? So consider that. You've got to be able to make a significant profit because, number one, your time is worth it, and also you got to consider that if you are giving so much value, some people have talked about, guys like Evan Pagan have talked about moving the free line. If you don't know what that means, it's just basically give give away a lot of stuff for free, and then very gently have a customer come in and maybe spend $5 or something. Personally, I've got mixed feelings about that. I feel like a servant's worth his hire. And look, people say information, you can get information for free online. You can also get a lot of misinformation for free online. This is the age of misinformation. Okay, so what your stuff is worth, you damn well better make some money from it. Okay, and I'm telling you that as a fellow entrepreneur, as a fellow capitalist, please be successful in your business. I don't mean to harp on that too much, but do not apologize for getting very, very rich and successful with your business. There is nothing wrong with that. I don't care what the media says, okay? Or what your broke friends say. Next thing, here's a tip. Intangibles beat tangibles almost always. What do I mean by this? Hopefully I got it written here. If it's a tangible product, you must be able to either sell it on a large scale, like 10 million of them, and make $1 each, or package it with a subjective value intangible. In other words, if I had a physical product, like a bottle of vitamins, and that's, let's say, worth $20 in the mind of the viewer. Okay, well, if I packaged that with the information course, the coaching program, the weight loss videos, something that's going to enhance the usability and the effect of that tangible product, well, now what's it worth? Well, it's worth whatever you say it's worth and whatever the buyer believes it's worth. So it's a subjective rather than objective value product packaging. You get that? So this is one of the ways you can maximize, like I said up here, and make the most profit from. That's one of the ways you can do that. Next thing you want to do to make sure that you make the most profit from your broadcast is to get leverage from others. I mentioned this right at the beginning. By giving people known as affiliates, okay, those are people that did not originate your product or your offer, but they're going to go ahead and promote it, and they're going to get a commission. Okay, that's affiliate marketing. It's very common. That's one of the ways that we got so much traction with our webinars, because it wasn't just me, right? I don't have a cape and mask, although my wife sometimes thinks I do. But this is something you can do to get leverage, and you can actually create the content, the promotional material, sometimes known as swipe copy. Right? Like maybe you got an email that invited you here today, and did the person who sent you that email write it? Maybe they just modified one that we wrote. Maybe we just handed them one, right? This is called swipe copy. It's a bit of plagiarism. It happens very commonly, and there's nothing unethical about it. It happens pretty commonly in online marketing, because look, professional sales and marketing people have been around for hundreds of years. Okay, since the first caveman sold the wheel to the other caveman. Okay, so since then, there's been copywriters and there's been ways of transferring ideas to other people. And if that's not your forte, if you're a plumber and you've never written books like me, you've never done email marketing and that sort of thing, it would be very good for you to study and to scrape from some of these people that's their life. Like here in Business Labs Pro, that is our life. That's what we do. We write, we record videos, we do marketing, we teach this stuff. This is what we do. I couldn't tell you about the plumbing, okay, but I could tell you all about how to get your plumbing sold. Okay, so this is something you could do to gain leverage using other people's efforts as well. Now, your buyer, let's talk about this. What is a problem you could solve? This is a bit of a recap, but what is a problem you could solve, a pain you can ease, or a solution you can offer to your ideal customer or client? This is something for you to think about tonight, tomorrow, over the next week. Perhaps you're going to do a live webinar. You're going to do a broadcast within the next week, let's say, after watching this. Okay, great. So consider, and you can survey, by the way. You could ask people, how's it going with your whatever, such and such, all right? That's something related to your business. What's a problem that you're facing right now? You could actually use SurveyMonkey to do this. You could also just ask customers if they come through the door into your brick and mortar business, right? You can get great survey data and find out patterns, what's going on with these buyers. And here are some motivators to help you do that. And Tony, you could actually chime in if you want, but I know Tony has also talked about these in his copywriting courses, which are available through Business Labs Pro. Some of the things that motivate people: frustration, right? They just can't figure out how to do it and they're getting frustrated. Curiosity, right? I mean, look at the celebrity gossip that sells every day. People are curious, right? Passion, right? Oh, we've got a movement here. We're activists. We're going to be passionate. Gain, right? There's an entire business opportunity, make money online industry based on hope for gain, right? Prevention, right? Here's the disaster prevention, what if scenarios, and now we're going to stock food and ammo and everything else. millions and millions of dollars spent on that. Influence. Would you like to be more credible in your field? Is the education. Now we're talking about educational type products, which is a great fit for info marketing and for webinars and stuff. Achievement. Okay, would you like to increase your golf game, so to speak, or your ability to hit the targets, in whatever sort of sport you do. And finally, prestige. Right, here are the people that they're the commoners, right? They've got just the basic stuff, but you, Mr. and Mrs. Viewer, you get the best, right? You're not these commoners. You get the best, right? So these are just some of the motivators that cause people to buy, that cause people to exchange money for perceived and real value, okay, that you can offer them. So there's a few pointers. Next, you want to name your event. I'll spend very little time on this. Okay, you put all those pieces together that we just talked about, and you arrive at a catchy name for your event. Something that sticks in the mind, that's easy to pronounce, and compels people to watch the clock and wait to show up. Okay, because this is going to be really cool, and it's exactly what they're looking for. Because why? Because you surveyed and you know what they're looking for. Okay, it's like Persuasion 101. Hey, what's important to you about that product? Well, it's got to have this, this, and this. Okay, great. Guess what we've got? We've got a product with this, this, and this, right? That's it. And so your event is actually a product, right? Think about this. It's actually a transaction. You're saying, look, I'll exchange with you this value, this event, this broadcast for your time, which is your most precious commodity, by the way. Never mind your money, okay? I want you to exchange some time with me. That is a transaction, my friends. That's what that is. So you're going to name this event so it's compelling, benefit driven. And on that note, the stated purpose of the event must be one of added value to the attendee, not merely a sales pitch. Get that. People sometimes are so desperate for the sale, and they just keep thinking, how do I get? Well, if you can go with, and this is something out of Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill wrote about this, where he said the QQS quotient of any business or transaction. Let me not confuse you. Q, quality. The next Q, quantity. S, spirit. Okay, the quality, quantity, and spirit of the service. That quotient will determine the effectiveness of your attempt to deliver that service. If you haven't read Think and Grow Rich, go through it. In fact, go through it 20 times. I still go through it here and there because it's just so rich with value. But the point is that your webinar should be rich with value and not merely a sales pitch. So keep that in mind. Always give the impression of increase. So whether a person buys from you or not, they're going to feel like their life has been enriched. They've been lifted up. They've been edified simply for having gone through that time with you, simply by having touched your life and you touched their life over the interwebs through that webinar, through that live broadcast. Always give the impression of increase. Always give the impression of increase. So keep those things in mind as you name your event. Okay, now, your customer, your prospect, this is what they look like. What is this here? This is a mouse. Okay, this is obviously a laboratory mouse. Somebody's got a laboratory nitrile glove or something on. And what do we know about this mouse? Well, there's a guy named Dean who, incidentally, is the guy who invented the squeeze page. If you're not sure what a website squeeze page is, that's what he invented this. He's also a big shot in real estate and teaching people how to market online. But he said that, you know what? People in laboratories, they use mice for experiments because mice are just like people in the way their brains work. I don't know if you've ever heard about this, but it's very interesting. A mouse is driven toward pleasure and toward avoiding pain, just like a person. You want pleasure. You want things to be nice and easy, path of least resistance, right? That's probably one of the reasons why it's so easy to, everybody online could be an expert and there's a million easy buttons because we like easy. We like done for you. We like pleasure. We also like success. That's pleasure, right? We like to get great results. We like to win the sports game. We like to, have success in our life, of course. And we like to avoid the pain. right? I've done a lot of work in the business opportunity field, right? And what's one of the big objections that come from the public? Is this a scam, right? How do I know if this is real? People are so afraid of being scammed. Personally, I've never been scammed. I don't know. I guess they exist, but I've never been scammed. But this is a big thing. People like to avoid pain. So what is the mouse looking for? Can you guess? The mouse, when the mouse is looking for pleasure, the mouse wants cheese. That's right. You guessed right. The mouse wants cheese, and it is programmed in its brain to seek out and find and eat cheese. What does the mouse avoid? Cats. And look at that cat. That is a ferocious looking cat right there. But if that mouse got a whiff of that cat, okay, it's going in the other direction. Is this making sense? So here's what you want to consider, and this sort of drives the whole point home that I've been making for the last couple of slides. You want to consider leading with cheese, as Dean put it. Okay, he said more cheese and less whiskers. Look at the whiskers on that cat. He said if you show up like a salesperson, let's say the quintessential used car salesperson, that is whiskers. People are scared of the used car salesman because they got whiskers all over them, right? But if you lead with cheese, right, a benefit, something where, you know, a sale can happen, that's fine, right? Exchange should happen. You guys know I celebrate entrepreneurship, and you're making lots of money. I want you to make lots of money. That's all great. But your customer may be a bit wary of that because there's so many self-proclaimed experts and false data and all the stuff out there that's just for the purpose of making a sale and not necessarily in the best interest of the customer. So when I talk about the impression of increase, I'm talking about leading with cheese and actually delivering the cheese. Okay, and then while the mouse is enjoying the cheese, there may or may not be a cat watching. Okay, but here's the thing. We're not looking to just eat the mouse. We're not looking to take our prospect. We're not looking to take advantage of anyone. But the mouse and the human thinks like this. So just be very careful with how you approach your viewer, because this is going to make or break the initial impression and how long they stick with your message, which may be, you may have the ideal product, service, exactly what they need. Okay, but if they start seeing whiskers, and that's like the main focus of the broadcast, you're going to lose them. Okay, and if you lose them, not only do you lose, they lose, because now they're not going to get the benefits that you know that they should have, because you've done the research. They don't know. Okay, but you need to help them out. So there's the cheese and whiskers example. I use this because it just sticks in my mind, and hopefully it'll stick in yours too. So just remember this whenever you're doing, whether it's a webinar or writing an email or whatever. Okay, this is your customer. Let's get into equipment and technology. I'll go really quick on this, and it's in fact the equipment and technology that I am using right now. We have got a good internet connection. Hopefully we do. Hopefully you're hearing me okay. We've got a computer with a microphone and a camera. I happen to be on a MacBook Pro. It's got a built-in mic and camera. How convenient. You can also use external mics and stuff like that, and external cameras, but most modern computers come ready to rock. A full browser, Firefox, Chrome, etc. Right now I'm on Safari, which is the Mac standard default browser, but Firefox or Chrome are also fine, especially if you're on a Windows machine. Get away from Internet Explorer. It is the most problematic piece of crap browser ever invented in the universe, except maybe Netscape. I think they're done a long time ago, but Internet Explorer is a problem. I am telling you right now, if you're on a Windows machine, do not use Internet Explorer. Do not use Internet Explorer. Ask our tech support department. Right? Half the tech problems are, what browser are you on? Oh, Internet Explorer. Oh, can you switch to Firefox? Oh, the problem's gone. Amazing. Okay, broadcasting service. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a minute. A publishing destination. I'll talk more about that as well. And creatives, visual aids are optional. Right now I'm using creatives and visual aids, right? These are just some bullet point slides that I put together, as well as pictures of mice and cheese and stuff, but you get the point. That's a visual aid. Broadcasting services. Let's dive into this a little bit more. You've got the old standard GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar. Okay, this is a lot of old timers use this, and I don't consider myself an old timer per se, although I'm not a youngin' either. But that's one option. I'll show you more about that in a minute. You got live stream, you got Ustream, and then you've got the mighty Google HOA. Let me show you what you're in for when you get ready. And again, this is for like new people who haven't done live video broadcasting yet. I'll show you what you're in for here. This is GoToWebinar, which is the same company as GoToMeeting. Let me pull up a pen here. You could see, if we look here, you can have up to 100 attendees for $79 a month. Okay, you can have up to 500 for $319 a month per organizer, or you can have up to 1,000. I think we've got over 1,000 on here already for $399 a month. Okay, now that is per organizer. Like Tony's an organizer, I'm an organizer. Okay, and that's billed annually. Or can you see the fine print here? Or look at that number right there, $499 a month if you want to pay month to month. Well, there's a bargain. You want to put 1,000 people on a broadcast? $500 a month, or $399 times 12. Pay us right up front. Your choice, right? How's that sound? Let's look at the next slide. Here is live stream. Here we're looking at again. We've got these different levels. We've got enterprise. Oh, this is nice. $499 a month. And or $999 a month. The price doubles. You can barely see that little gray print right there. It says $999 a month if you pay month to month. Right there. That's what it says. $1,000 a month. So yeah, folks, capitalism is alive and well. Here is Ustream, another competitor. You can have monthly plans that range from $99 to $999. You see right in the middle of the pro plans. And enterprise plans start at $2,000 a month. Call to contact us because we don't even want to show you those prices on the web because we don't want you throwing up all over your computer screen. You just give us a call. Okay, we'd rather you throw up on your phone. So these are some of the choices that people go with. And here's what we do. HOA, Google Hangouts on the air. That's what we're doing right now. And here is a wonderful, wonderful aspect of this. Right now, we've got plenty of people on here. I'm sure by the time we're done, we're going to have well more than a couple thousand people that watch this. But this is a very nice feature. Free, okay? We like free. Now, just because it's free, remember before I said, you know, if you give me whatever the best is, I'll pay for the best. I'm your customer, give me the best, right? Here's my money. Well, in this case, and this is just my assessment, the best happens to be free. And that's because Google, a multi-billion-dollar company, is paid for with advertising dollars. So this is something they can do to keep Google sticky. Sticky. We want people on Google for free because all the advertising dollars pay for this. Okay, so that's a big difference here. And this is the exact service that we used to bring in over $10 million. And we sent how much money to Google? Zero. That's correct. We sent zero money to Google. Tony, if you could just jump out here real quick. If Google said to you, Tony, Hangouts on the Air is now $100 a month, would you buy it?
Oh, God, yeah.
200.
Absolutely.
300.
With the amount of money that we've made with webinars using the strategy you're outlining, I mean, it would still be a bargain for us at $25,000 a month.
Well, look at this. Here's $1,000 a month for a pro plan, right? Or Google, 300 a month. Here's my 300, Google. Thank you.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's I don't actually understand the model. I don't understand. Well, I guess I do. They sell. I guess they got some. You can maybe speak to that how they monetize that. But we've used all the other platforms that you've described there. We've tried them, and there's a reason why we're using the Google Hangout option tonight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's beautiful stuff. Anyway, thank you for letting me put you on the spot. So the point is, my friends, you've got a very economical advantage here right now. What used to cost us thousands and thousands of dollars with GoToWebinar and all this other, nothing wrong with those other services. Okay, but they do go down as well. Some people say, oh, Google Hangouts, it gets a little bit glitchy sometimes. They all get a little bit glitchy sometimes. Okay, but my point is here, you just saved a ton of money just from using this service. And you may, if you're familiar with it, you may already be using it. The rest of this webinar and what we've already talked about, hopefully you'll just use it more effectively, okay? Because I know some people just use Hangouts to chat, you know, and teenagers having, I don't know, talking about the weather or celebrity gossip or whatever. There's ways to make a lot of money with Google Hangouts on the air, and it's free. So moving on. Publishing to your web properties. I touched on this very briefly. Right now, we are on one of our web properties. We own this property. This is Business Labs Pro, and you're on it. And there's nowhere else that you are except on Business Labs Pro. Unlike, let's say, for example, YouTube. Let me see what else I put on this slide here. Yes. This is a property you control. Unlike, let's say, if you just broadcasted in Google Hangouts on air, like you did an event and here's people coming to your Google page, there's lots of other stuff for them to click on. There's lots of distractions. YouTube, there's all the videos all over the place, right? You do not have control, okay? Here we have control of exactly what you see on the page. It is less distractions. It is focus, right? Because we know people have short attention spans. That's just life. We're all really busy. And so you've got to aid your viewer by controlling the environment that's existing on their screen. You must have control, or I would say very, very strongly recommended that you have control. You can still get a message across on Google or YouTube, but I'm going to tell you to embed that video file somewhere else, like what you're experiencing right now. This is the way to do it. You want to provide a very conspicuous buying mechanism. This is also something you cannot do, let's say on YouTube. On YouTube, you can have a description under the video and a little link that clicks to a website where they can go and maybe buy something. Okay, that's not optimal. On a page that you control, you got to have a big button that says add to cart, buy now, big shiny button, right? And make it extremely obvious when you call to action. Here's what you guys can do. You can go take the next step. Here's the button. So again, you can only do that on a page that you control. You can use a blog or a website, and I would recommend one that you easily can create pages in. In other words, you do not need to call your web guy to program a page for you and then, oh, I want to change it. Oh, it's different. Oh, it's the wrong color. You don't want to go through all that. Something, if you know how to use your blog, you know how to use your website, where you can pull a trigger and boom, there's a broadcast page ready to rock. Fine. That's wonderful. But most people are not tech savvy. So again, I would say one that you can easily create pages in. And if that's not your case, then perhaps you want to go with a third-party service or page creator. There's a few that we recommend. We could show you some of those at another time. Again, I want to keep this video brief and give you just the most poignant and potent theories that you can then take and go do practical application with. We can go further into the course if you want to do that. And then the other thing, which is extremely easy, and I'm just going to plug this for a minute, My Inspired Media. This is the fastest and simplest way to embed your videos and have control and own the page, and it's yours. Let me give you a couple examples really, really quick. This is My Inspired Media. It's one of our brands here with Business Labs Pro. This is a completely proprietary video display and content marketing platform. Okay, here's an example page. This is a video that I shot, I don't know, a few months ago, where somebody embedded this video. The person up here, Aaron, apparently, if you could see up top here, this is Aaron's page. He's got all of his social media share buttons, and down below he's got click here to learn more. And there is nothing that is not Aaron on this page. Here's another example of the same video being embedded for a different purpose. Somebody liked my video and they wanted to do something apparently more organic. We're going to go fishing in the mountains or something here. We're going to sign up and receive $10. Carl Upton. Okay, so here's one of our members that are using this service. And getting leverage, remember we talked about leveraging other people's talents? Well, here are people leveraging my videos to sell their product, their deal, whatever they've got. Okay, here's another person. They're obviously doing a 2015 theme. We're on the beach. We're going to click here to learn more with that video. And this is underneath that video. Look, this is the top of the page. You see the two arrows at the bottom. They point to the bottom of the page. So below the fold of the page, you see this. Here's the description. Again, the same button to learn more. Down at the bottom, and here's Janet, right? Here's about her. There's also down below, you can't see down below further, there's her related videos, other things that she likes to show people. So this is control, my friends. And this whole thing, the video, the embed, the programming of the buttons, the description, the SEO, the search engine optimization features that are behind the scenes on this page, on this system, this took about 3 minutes. It didn't take 3 minutes to program. It took months, okay? But the user, when you go and you use this, and by the way, this is free. This is for all Business Labs Pro members. It's included with your membership, okay? No additional cost. This entire platform, this will get you more leads, and the best leads, by the way. Remember we talked about the ideal buyer before? Showing them a video where they can relate to you. They can look in your eyes. You're having a conversation with them. Man, oh man, now they click below to learn more. They get on your list. They're getting your emails from you. When you offer them a product or service, something that they could buy, are they more predisposed? Are they more motivated to not only believing you, right, knowing you, liking you, trusting you, right? People buy from people that they trust, right? Who can I trust? That's the number one question online. But now they already know They already know who they're dealing with. Remember before I said people buy from people? This is like a nuclear bomb going off. Guys, I can't stress this enough. My inspired media is a completely unfair advantage for any online market. I don't care what kind of business you're in, completely unfair advantage. And this did not exist a few months ago. So this is a really, really special thing. And anyway, I just wanted to show you that. We could talk more about that another time, but that's my inspired media. Now, visual aids, I'll keep it really brief on this too. And I know I'm already at 46 minutes past the hour. So I'm going to rip through this, okay? And I'm not going to be able to give you everything because there's so much in my brain. Again, it took me 20 years to learn all this stuff. But visual aids include Keynote. Like right now we're looking at Keynote slides. PowerPoint is the same thing as Keynote for, what's that other kind of computer called? PC. What does PC stand for? I don't remember. Anyway, so there's that. There's a browser, right? Like I could show you my browser. We could actually look at pages on the internet. Screen annotation, which is what I was doing before right here. Like, hi, right? This is screen annotation. So that sort of thing is very compelling. And it also shows that you are, you're very knowledgeable, okay? Think about the effect of when I'm able to draw and annotate on the screen. That says to the viewer, hey, this person knows what they're talking about. They're lecturing while drawing on the whiteboard like a college professor would. They don't need a script, right? So that just reeks of authority and a bit of flippancy, right? Because you know your topic well enough that you can go ahead and think and talk at the same time. Unfortunately, in my case, my penmanship is so bad that I dare not write too much or I'll just embarrass myself. And finally, all of this is done through screen sharing, which we're doing right now. Obviously, I'm sharing the screen, and obviously that is a feature that you can use on Google Hangouts on the air. I want to wrap up with this. These are some, not all, some of the most vital things I've learned after more than 20 years in sales. I put more of them into the course, which again is available to our members here at Business Labs Pro. I'm going to go through these quick, make mental notes and jot down, make a little mind map or something as we go through these. These should be, some of them will be memory joggers for you, and some of them may sound like profound breakthroughs. Okay, so wherever you're at in the process, here's some of the most vital stuff I can tell you. Number one, assume the position of authority. Confidence is key. I want to quote Wallace D. Wattles for a moment. Back in 1910, in the book, The Science of Getting Rich, he said that two people engaged in the same kind of business can get completely different results. You got rich doing webinars. The other person stayed broke doing webinars. What's the difference? And he said the difference is the person who gets rich is the person who does things in a certain way. The person who does not get rich does not do things in a certain way. But to do things in a certain way, you must think in a certain way. Now, what is the key word in all of that? The key word is certain. Certain. Certainty. The absence of doubt. Confidence. That's what sells, my friends. That's what sells. Certainty sells. Uncertainty does not sell. Confidence is key. Do not be nervous when you do your broadcast. Do not be nervous. You must know your topic. You must be an authority. And become an authority. You know, it's not even that hard these days. There's so much information that's available right now, and there's so many people you can consult with, and there's so much education available. And if you've actually got real world experience in your field, which you should have if you're in that business, right? You should be way more confident and way more of an authority and way more certain than your average viewer. Okay, I know many of you on here right now have probably done webinars. Probably not too many of you have made more than a few $1 million doing webinars, if that. So in this case, I've got an authority position, and I'm confidently sharing my experience with you on that. How can you do that in your business? That's the question you got to ask yourself. That's key number one. You want to lead with value. We talked about this before. Some of this value that people will appreciate could be tips and instruction, kind of like what we're doing here. Insider information. Again, this is sort of the secret, curiosity kind of stuff. These are things that people will appreciate getting insider access to. You can also promise a bonus for those who stay to the end. This is part of engagement, right? In fact, we've got a bonus for you here. Imagine that, right? We're actually practicing what we preach here. You want to have some value for people that invest their time with you. So those are some ideas you can do to be more compelling to your audience. You want to make sure that your event is exactly that, an event. It's not just come as you like, okay? It's actually an event. Events are based on time. Even if your opportunity is evergreen, you can go buy the vitamins any day of the week, but today there's something special about the offer, the discount, the bonus product, the coaching program, the whatever it happens to be, because you can only get it at the event. Okay, so create a bit of urgency there. Give people a reason to buy now. Events are based on time. Okay, next thing, keep branding subtle and understated. Okay, notice I haven't been talking the whole time about how great I am and millions of dollars and bragging. Who cares? Nobody cares. What's in it for me? That's what they care about. Okay, now on the other hand, you can lean on your USP if you have one. USP is a unique selling proposition. Okay, that is the reason why somebody should buy from you and not any of your competitors, and they should buy right now, and they should not delay buying. Okay, why should they buy from you versus all of your competitors and versus doing nothing? Okay, that's a unique selling proposition. That is something that takes a little thought. Okay, you may not come up with that in 15 minutes. Some people belabor that for a year or more, which could be appropriate. Okay, so you can lean on your USP. Your unique selling proposition can inform how you behave on the webinar. In other words, here in Business Labs Pro, we believe in creating training programs that you'll actually use, technology that actually works, making marketing easy for our fellow entrepreneurs. That's why we exist. That's why we exist. That's our unique selling proposition, or an elongated version of it. See, we're still working on ours, but it informs how I behave on this webinar. What is my purpose here? It's to fulfill our unique selling proposition. Okay, so it's not to brag. It's to make sure that we've got, like we talked about before, the QQS quotient, the quality, quantity, and spirit of service that we're rendering. So there's that. Host your own event in a pleasing environment, not in a mess. Okay, you don't want to distract your viewer with a big mess behind you. And right now I'm not on screen, but you saw me before. It was a clear, uncluttered environment. Next, facts tell, stories sell. Tony started this whole thing with the story about this how this webinar thing came about. We had a product we had to get on the street. John Lavenia showed up and said, "Hey, let's do this." Next thing you know, we're doing it. Boom, $10 million. That's a story. Okay, facts tell, stories sell. And we're going through a lot of facts and a lot of data here now because this is a training piece per se. But when you're getting into, let's say, for example, you've got the weight loss product. It's one thing to talk about the facts of the ingredients that are in that product. It's another thing to say, now meet Sally, ladies and gentlemen, and Sally looks like a beauty queen. And now let's look at the before pictures before Sally started using this product, and the audience gasps because, oh my goodness, look at those before pictures. What a transformation. Sally, show us what you did, right? So this is the story. Okay, facts tell, stories sell. Nobody cares what's in the vitamins. Okay, they'll justify that they purchased the vitamins because they got the good natural ingredients, but they want to know what it'll do for them, not what it'll do to them. They just want to know what it'll do for them. And the best way to tell that story is with an actual story, right? That's like the biblical, parables, right? Stories. That's what sells. Next thing, 2 hosts, possibly 3, not 1. Think talk show. Right now, I'm taking a lot of the time because this is a training piece, but Tony and I had a little banter back and forth, right? It's like coming on to David Letterman or Larry King. Even if the celebrity is more popular than Larry King, still there's the third-party credibility. They get to have a conversation. You're drawn into the conversation. It's not one person trying to perform, right? Like, here's your mic, get on stage, do it. Now, some people can do that. Okay, some people are professional speakers, entertainers, etc. Okay, but I'll tell you, it's way, way easier if you've got a partner. Again, we can get biblical, right? The apostles went out 2 by 2 to carry the good news, right? They didn't go alone. Okay, so consider that. 2 hosts, not 1. Next thing, do a practice run, right? Know your tech. Your tech should be transparent. When you listen to a beautiful recording of music, right? You're not hearing the soundboard, you're hearing the instruments. The soundboard, the technology is transparent. Why? Because the soundboard engineer knows how to use the damn thing. Okay, so you want to do a practice run and a couple times, use Google Hangouts on air, use these other services like My Inspired Media to embed your videos and stuff, and you are going to be great. Nobody's even going to think about the tech. They're just going to think about the message. Practice run will help you do that. Next thing is keep it moving. Apparently it's bedtime with Trinity. My wife is going to take care of that. My daughter's name is Trinity. There's iCal for you. Next thing is to keep it moving. Okay, you don't want to be boring. That is the cardinal sin of marketing. Tony talks about this in his copywriting course. Do not write boring emails. Do not do boring webinars. You got to keep it moving. Every time the screen changes, like this, like this, like that, the attention span of the viewer changes. Okay, so keep it moving. Tips for effective sales communication. Oh my goodness, I've been talking so long. I got to go really fast through this. Number one, be different. Okay, do not be vanilla. If you are vanilla, you are ignored. If you're an expert in your field, you have full license to be different, and you damn well better be different. Okay, because we've heard it all before. What's different about you? Next thing, be funny. Hopefully I've been a little bit funny here with you today. You can only be funny if you're confident. And you can only be confident if you know your topic. So think about this. You want to have a bit of flippancy. You want to be able to connect with the audience. Now we can talk about jokes like, I talked about before the easy button. People are going to click the easy button and get rich. You guys have probably seen that before because you're doing some sort of online marketing. You've probably seen the ridiculous pitches of do nothing but get rich, just, sit on the couch and we do everything for you. That's not reality. Okay. Now you can relate to that because you've seen it before. And we can make jokes around that. But a person, let's say a doctor on here right now, who all they know is like medical stuff, they wouldn't be able to relate to that. It wouldn't be easy for me to make that sort of a joke. But they can make jokes with other doctors about doctor stuff, right? So you see, if you're in your field and you've got your ideal target audience, it's easy to be a bit flippant and put in little puns and things like that. That will also endear your audience to you a bit. Connect with the camera lens. Right now, I'm not looking at the camera lens because I'm showing you slides, but when I am on screen, I'm looking at the camera lens. That is my ideal target audience. It's, in some cases, I consider it my best friend. My camera lens is my best friend. It is not a piece of tech. It is you. And that's what I'm looking at when I look at the camera lens. Next thing, smile while you talk, right? Don't be so damn serious. I've been guilty of that in my life. Smiling, again, reveals your confidence. Use the word because. Oh, man, I could get into this. This is some heavy-duty psychology stuff. But because, the word because, actually validates and qualifies whatever you're talking about. Okay? It gives a reason for the listener to believe the veracity of the statement that you're making. Okay? And I give some examples of this, or at least one example of it in the course, in the Blueprint course, which is available to members here in Business Labs Pro. The damaging admission. Okay, hey, we may not be the biggest company in our field, but with our smaller company, you get more personalized service. You see, I just said something damaging about our company, but I turned it into an advantage. I admit that we're not the biggest, but we give the better service, right? You see that? How can you turn a seeming disadvantage into an advantage and come clean with it right up front so the objection never comes up and people feel like, hey, you're pretty comfortable that you've got the best service because you're able to admit that, hey, you're not the biggest in your field or whatever. Who cares, right? So now people are, again, more apt to believe and participate with you. Be knowledgeable and enthusiastic. We already covered that. Okay, when it's time to close, the one banana is the only banana. In other words, do not confuse your viewer with lots of options. Show them what to do, show them how to do it, and that's the end of that. The one banana theory, you'll have to watch the course to hear where that came from. And then finally, I'm going to leave you with this. Avoid perfectionism. I've been guilty of this. It's part of being over serious and wanting to get everything right. It's probably part of my mechanical background. There's no such thing as a half-fixed engine. It either runs or it doesn't, right? It's very black and white. You got to be careful with this. In the marketing world, guys and gals, everything's a test, okay? And I will tell you this, beyond the shadow of a doubt, imperfect and done beats perfect and not done always, 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 always. Get off your butt and do it. It's never going to be perfect anyway. There's no such thing as perfect, and you're never going to be great at it unless you start doing it. And believe me, there's so much room at the top. There's so much room. I once heard that, in fact, I've heard it a few times, that your income will be in direct proportion to the demand for what you do, your ability to do it, and the difficulty there would be in replacing you. And I'll tell you, my friends, you get good at this, it's going to be very difficult to replace you. Your income's going to go up, but you're never going to get good at it if you don't do it. Okay, so I'm going to come back on screen. Tony, I'm going to kick it over to you while I do that.
Well, I was sitting here. Well, for one thing, that is information dense. I don't think anybody. I don't think anybody would be able to leave tonight's training and say, "Well, wow, that sure was a lot of fluff and a lot of storytelling." You and I have been to a lot of webinars and even live events over the years in this industry, and it seems that the fluff to content ratio is usually very very top heavy. Thank you for continuing to set the trend for setting a bar. When people show up to our webinars, they expect content. That's what they get. I'll tell you, I typed my notes on the screen tonight, so I can't hold up a legal pad of all the notes I've taken. But that's the first time I've seen your slides, so that was informative to me. And I could pick any one of these bullet points and just do another 20-minute dissertation of my own. It feels like, but I think here's the big takeaway for me, man, is having seen you actually put this to use in the real world. Like, this isn't theory. Like, I can see how you connected the dots between what you taught tonight, and I can see those fingerprints in the webinars that I see you performing for the last 6 months in our other businesses. And it's not surprising to me that we've gotten the results we've got, over $10,400,000 in sales now. But the big takeaway for me here is that anybody can do this. And what you did, like the product that we were selling when we started that initial project of webinars, was actually somebody else's product. That, to me, there's an element there of self-reliance and personal responsibility that I think a lot of times marketers, especially say affiliate marketers or maybe networkers or people like that, it may not have occurred to them that they can actually just step up and start taking responsibility for communicating their own value to their own audience. They're waiting for somebody else to do it. Equally in other industries. Listen, if I was a real estate agent, like if I were not doing what I'm doing now in the publishing industry and information marketing, and let's say that I decided to open a real estate office here in my home city, I would be doing webinars. And I would be appealing. I would identify my market. I would follow the same steps you laid out here tonight. I would identify my market. Who's my market? Young couples, newly married, whatever. I don't know a lot about real estate, but I would identify my market, and I would do targeted marketing on the internet within 50 miles of my city, right? And I would craft a presentation for people who are looking for real estate in my area, and I would use this exact same process. I can't think of if I was a chiropractor, I mean, how many different things can they teach? Good Lord, there's got to be 100 different things they can talk about, whether it's how to avoid back injury or how to treat a back injury, or maybe naturopathic stuff, like just how to have better health without using so much medicine or whatever. I mean, so the takeaway for me here, John, is how universal this is that you've laid out tonight. So if I was an insurance agent, if I was a lawyer, if I was a real estate agent, a chiropractor, I'm trying any kind of teaching. Good Lord, if you sold, I have a friend of mine who's actually setting up a internet business on teaching piano over the internet. He could absolutely rake in thousands of customers by using the method that you've talked about here. I'm trying to think of, I'm sure there's some industries that this might not be a natural fit. You might, I don't know, would a restaurant owner bother doing webinars? Probably not.
I think so. A restaurant owner can do something regarding, creating the environment for your dining experience. And by the way, we've got that all set up for you here.
Yeah, they can do things on, hey, here's the top 7 things to avoid when catering your wedding. Maybe it's a restaurant owner that wants to get in the it's like,
I think it would not work for a brain surgeon, right? Like, you operate on brains. Like, what are you going to do on a webinar, right? I don't know.
But I don't know. That's my takeaway here, man, is that there's just such a universal application, and all it really takes is somebody being willing to do it. And it's, anything that's easy to do like this is also easy not to do. And I think a lot of times people stay on the sidelines. They wish they had more customers. They wish they had more sales. They wish they had more memberships or subscriptions or whatever it is they're selling. But they see other people doing webinars, but maybe they think they need a license. Maybe they need somebody to come by with a magic wand, and say, here, magic wand, you're now equipped to do webinars. So if if the big takeaway, if the takeaway is anything, I think it's this, guys. You have permission to go do webinars and to actually communicate your value to your prospects in the most powerful way possible, using the strategy that John laid out here tonight. It's simple. You can start for free or nearly free, especially if you're using the Google platform that we use. There are some tools, some tips and tricks. And John, maybe you might want to mention, I know you alluded to some of the tools that we use to maintain control of the viewer's experience and things like that. Maybe we can recap that. But I mean, this is not an expensive thing. I mean, we do these webinars regularly, and they consistently produce thousands and thousands of dollars in sales in all of our various businesses. I think my record is a little over $32,000 in sales came in less than 2 hours one night from a webinar. And I could not have done that. Name any other sales method. You can't knock on enough doors. You can't do enough cold calling. You can't do enough conference calls to really produce that kind of impact in as short a time. So, yeah, in my mind, man, this is just the roadmap that people have needed, but also the permission. They needed to know this is not rocket science. This is something that they can actually pull the trigger on in the next week.
You know, Tony, that's a great point. Okay, as an entrepreneur, we must acknowledge ourselves as authorities in our field, and like the stuff I talked about before. Unlike the employee who waits to get a promotion or a new title because somebody else in the corporation said that now they're worthy, as entrepreneurs, we have to be worthy now. And the other reminder is that we've got to match our message to the market. And so I think a lot of people, I know a lot of people think, I need more leads, I need more contacts, I'm the realtor, I need more customers, clients looking for houses or looking to sell, listings, etc. The bottom line with all that is good marketing, okay? And this is one of the keys, okay? And I'm going to show you what we've got here for everybody who stuck around with us tonight. That's something really cool. Okay, but one of the keys to our success with our webinar series is that we've had an abundance, as I mentioned before, an abundance of easy to reach, easy to get in communication with people who are outrageously passionate about our topic, about our expertise, about the value, the benefits that we offer. Without that, you could be the best webinar host, you could be the most entertaining and informative, and it falls on deaf ears, you went nowhere. Okay, now to that end, Business Labs Pro. So I'm going to show you a couple of things that we've created that will help you get a ton of the ideal prospects that are coming to your webinars. And this goes on and on and on. How would everybody like, listen to this, how would everybody like your best, most predisposed, pre-motivated prospects for free for years? How does that sound? To get your best ideal targeted audience coming to you for free for years. That's the main thing that we've based our technology on. Let me show you. I'm going to share my screen here again and show you what I'm talking about. Because that sounds like, come on, John, that's the hype. I've heard it all before. Let me just show you this right here. I don't know how well you can see this. Some of the writing is pretty small. I just grabbed a few of these. I could show you hundreds of these. Tony, you know, I could show people hundreds of these right now. But these are just a few of our users and what they're talking about here, getting leads and making sales with our business. Here's a guy, Steve, 16 leads in his first day. He's down in Costa Rica. Here's Gerald, lost for words. This is going to be his #1 marketing method. What is he talking about? I'm going to show you here in just a second. 4 to 5 business subscriptions daily. These are leads. These are people for this guy Marcus for his business. This guy Tony down in Perth. He's in what is it? Some web design business, I believe. And here he is ranking with our technology. So there we go. What are we talking about? We're talking about Business Labs Pro. And let me pull this up right here. This is the inside of our members platform. I can't go through all this right now because I'm already way over an hour. But here's what we've got for everybody. Inside this members portal, which you can get here today. You can have instant access to this. We've got, as I said before, training that you'll actually use, right? Because it's simple, it's usable. We're not looking to give anybody a brain hernia here. This is good, usable stuff. And we've got technology that actually works to make marketing easy. Just take a quick look at our training section. how to get free leads with the My Inspired Media Marketing Platform. This is 12 modules, right? You guys know that video is not just the future, it's right now, okay? But here are two of our co-founders that have gone through 12 modules of showing exactly how they get a virtually unlimited and never-ending flow of free, ideal prospects, subscribers to their email lists, people asking for more information, buyers, using video marketing with the My Inspired Media Platform, which is included in this membership. And here's 12 modules on how to use it. That's just one of the training courses in here. You like social media? Randy Schrum, 9 modules on how to use Facebook giveaways. He generated 904 leads in less than 30 days with that one method. He also is the world's foremost expert on LinkedIn training. He's got 5 modules on how to get 100 leads in 14 days. And these are business leads, guys. Think about this, okay? This isn't people tweeting about what they had for lunch. This is LinkedIn. This is business. These are the kind of leads you want. That's also available for the members. It's all in here. The $10.2 million webinar blueprint. This is the full training, which I excerpted here tonight. You got a bit of that here. But in here, I do demos, and I give you all kinds of stuff. That's also in here. And right here, I want to show you this, done-for-you list building. Here are 2 methods to grow your list, your subscriber base, your audience, overnight, as simple as a click of a button. This is how Tony's built a lot of his lists. I'm talking about 100,000 plus subscribers. This is how I've built my lists for years. This is using third-party data services and a thing called solo ads. And we actually give you our best sources, our private sources. Those are freely available here for our members. That's all in here. And we're adding more training to this all the time. Again, Business Labs Pro, this whole thing is only a couple months old. We also have our forums. We just started our forums where you can actually have me and Tony and our other co-founders discussing any topics that we cover here on Business Labs Pro about marketing, making more sales, making more money, using systems and automation, all of that in here. This is growing now as a new feature for our members. That's, again, available for our members only. You want to talk with me more about webinars? We do it right here in the forum. I check this once a day. The other thing here, I said we're going to have a bonus. Oh, I didn't even mention this thing right here. My friends, if you could imagine having other people sharing your content on your behalf, freely sharing your content across multiple syndicated SEO platforms and stuff. I don't want to get into the tech behind it, but we have got some major juice behind this technology. Bobby Baker is our chief technologist. This guy, he just lives for search engine optimization. The guy is amazing. It's all in here. Anyway, I could go on and on and on, but I don't have time. We've got no more time to talk about this. Business Labs Pro, easily worth $500 a month for any serious entrepreneur. It will save you thousands. What the amount of money I have wasted over the years because I did not have this technology and this training, tens of thousands of dollars at least. Tens of thousands of dollars at least. And here's the bonus that we're doing tonight. Our top data provider is giving 1,000 free contacts for any new member who signs up tonight with Business Labs Pro. That's worth money, my friends. And this isn't just, here's 1,000 random names and emails. We're talking about a free consultation live with an expert. They know list building. They know data mining. They know compiled lists. They know subscriber lists. They know demographics. They know psychographics. They know everything, whether it's B2B or B2C. They probably know everything about you. They know what magazines you subscribe to, what kind of car you drive. They know it all. You want to get in with these people, they're going to roll out a red carpet for any new Business Labs Pro member tonight. 1,000 custom tailored contacts exactly for your business, exactly what you want. And you can talk with them right after this call if you want, once you're a member. The site where you can get this offer is businesslabspro.com/start. businesslabspro.com/start. It will bring you to a page that looks like this. You will see a short video from a really handsome guy. Look at that guy. Oh my goodness.
Look at that guy.
Look at that guy. And we're offering the whole thing for only $97. And 30-day, 100%, no risk, money-back guarantee. Okay, we are really serious about this. This is the final word in online marketing, training, and technology. Again, stuff you'll actually use because it's not confusing, and technology that actually works. If you're not getting leads in your first 30 days, and I mean leads that you can convert to buyers, please get a refund. I'm telling you, this is the final word. This is it. Okay, so Business Labs Pro, you can even get 2 months free if you buy a year in advance. So be my guest if you want to do that. This is Business Labs Pro. You get this for $97. Plus, you get 1,000 free contacts from our data provider. Plus, I didn't even mention this, we've got a bonus product that we're giving to our new members here, which are behind-the-scenes interviews with Tony and myself and Randy, our social media experts, and Christian and Bobby, our SEO and video marketing experts here in the lab. All that's here for you. I would suggest you just go ahead and take us up on this offer now. And there should be a button down below this video for you to do that right now. Tony, any closing comments from you?
Well, I think tonight's conversation is indicative of the kind of quality that we're talking about. I've got a message here on Facebook where somebody said, I learned more tonight about webinars from John for free than I learned from a $497 course that I bought 2 months ago from, and then there's a internet marketing guru.
Thank you. Thank you for the acknowledgement, whoever said that. Thank you.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, and this is it. This was tip of the iceberg though. I mean, because John's got a whole course just on this. And then of course, if you stand back and look at the whole sales process, guys, everything from how do I get somebody to look at my ad to how do I get them to respond to my ad and become a prospect? How do I get the prospect to get to the presentation? How do I create a presentation that creates a customer? Like if you stand back and look at that, you know, like the 30,000 foot view, we've got training on every one of those steps. So whatever the bottleneck, see, some of you watching, and I'll keep this brief, but some of you watching tonight, you've never looked at your business that way. Like it's like a funnel, or if you want to picture, you know, the old days of logging, you know, where they cut down the trees upstream. And, you know, the sawmill is supposed to catch the logs as they come floating down the river. But all of a sudden there's a blockage. There's this big blockage and all the logs just get jammed up on the river, right? And there's a beautiful concept about this in engineering where a lot of times you only need to move 1 or 2 logs. And all of a sudden there's this massive rush of logs that come down the river. My friend, your business and mine is the exact same way. A lot of times you're closer to a breakthrough than you think you are, and all it's going to take is a few tweaks. For others of you, if you're in a startup or if you're starting a new business, or if you've never had access to professional marketing and sales training before, this is going to be a breath of fresh air for you, because you're going to actually get to stand back and look at what I just described briefly as this process. And you can say, oh, I see exactly, based on that roadmap, I see exactly where the bottleneck is. I see where the logs are jammed up, and you're going to be able to drill down onto that one part of your business, adjust the knobs a little bit, tweak the process, and all of a sudden you're going to start seeing results start flowing in that part of your business again. So it's a very methodical method. John's given you a bare glimpse into one of the courses, and we see orders already coming in. Thank you. Congratulations to you guys, I should say, to looks like Chanel, who just got started. Congratulations to you, Mark, and Paulette here in the last couple of minutes. So congratulations to you guys. So yeah, there should be a button on this page, unless you've refreshed the page during the webinar. If you don't see a button, it's over to Business Labs Pro, businesslabspro.com/start. And of course, everybody getting started tonight, you will have instructions on how to get those 1,000 free contacts. That's a great bonus, John. That's you know, a lot of people giving away leads. This is custom tailored. Like if you said, hey, I would like 1,000 contacts of people that are new homeowners or a certain zip code. Like you have a consultation, and you'll be able to really create a custom audience for yourself. So that's a huge value.
Not just that, excuse me, not just that, but the data service, which everybody's going to see once they're in. They also do the creatives, right? If you want, they'll do a whole done-for-you service. They got the email servers. They'll do the initial contact. They'll create the subscriber list, give it to you for your autoresponder. They'll do the graphics. They'll do the whole thing. They just need to know, who do you want? They got millions and millions and millions of people. Who do you want? Here's 1,000 on the house, right? So
it's a pretty amazing bonus. And of course, you get all those extra courses that John mentioned. All this is included for free with your Business Labs Pro subscription. So grab that tonight so you don't miss out on that bonus. And I've got a bunch of notes. I hope you guys have a lot of notes too. This replay will be available for at least 48 hours. So this will be available for you to review. John, any closing words before we wrap up?
You know what, Tony, thank you, of course. And I want to thank you right now, the viewer. Hello, thank you. It's with great respect that I offered what I was able to offer here tonight. I know we ran a bit over. It's been an hour and 20 minutes. I could go for another 3 hours, and I do in the Blueprint course, which you'll have access to as soon as you get started. But again, it's with great respect that I have for entrepreneurs. This is a labor of love. Business Labs Pro, the reason we've come together, Tony, Randy, Christian, Bobby, and myself to put this together, we're the 5 founders of all this, is because marketing has changed our life. I used to be a mechanic. Okay, I mentioned that before. I've been a mechanic for a while, and it's because I learned the kind of stuff that's in this program. And if I only knew then what I know now, right, with these tools, man, oh man, I could have saved tens of maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars in mistakes, not to mention the heartache. So look, do yourself a favor, do your business a favor, do your stats a favor, and leverage our experience to your benefit. And we want to hear about it. That's what we want more than anything, is we want to hear your success stories. That's part of our pay. That's how we get paid, okay? We get paid by knowing that we've got a cooperative effort and that you're getting results. So I know that might sound a little fluffy or whatever, but it really is a labor of love. So anyway, thanks everybody for being here. Any questions for me about webinars or otherwise, hit us on the forums, and we'll look forward to seeing you all again real soon. Thanks again, Tony.
Thank you, John. Good night, everybody.